Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Abeer's Book Reviews, and today I'll be reviewing this book, India's Blind Spot by Devashish Dhar. Understanding and Managing Our Cities. That is the tagline. And yes, it is about India and Indian cities. So this book is basically Devashish Dhar explaining how Indian cities developed over time, where they stand currently in terms of not only domestically but according to international standards, and what is the way forward for Indian cities. So the book starts off by a brief description, or it's not really brief, there's an entire chapter dedicated to how cities are humanity's longest running experiment, right? People used to live in villages. It was very unorganized, and there were not really a lot of opportunities available to people during that time. So they migrated to cities. They created these big technological hubs, financial hubs all over the world, where people had vast amounts of opportunity to come and work and make money. And the book starts off by showing us how globally the cities came to be, starting from ancient Rome up until the modern times, where we now have interconnected cities, which are, this utopian land in some cases. Ancient humans, if they ever visited these cities, they would definitely seem like utopias to them. And the book starts off by talking about how they came to be. Then it moves on to India and how Indian cities evolved over time, starting from ancient India, during the times of the Indian epics of Mahabharata and Ramayana, all the way to when the Britishers came and invaded India, then the Mughals invaded India, and how their bureaucracy and government brought about certain changes, which you can still see in Indian cities today. And then finally, post-independence. What Indian cities have been doing post-independence. And one amazing thing about this book is that even though it focuses very heavily on public policy and bureaucracy and governance, it does not specifically target or undermine any specific government that India has seen. It is not very heavily left-leaning. It's not very heavily right-leaning. It is a very objective view of India and Indian cities and how they came to be. So the book talks about a lot of aspects of Indian cities, which if you live in India or have stayed here for an extended period of time, you would have seen for yourself, such as the waste management, the land development, the land allocation, and one of the most talked about points in this book is how Indian cities marginalize the poor and the immigrants, and why they do so, what are the root causes, and how is that affecting the cities. Is it for the positive? Is it for the negative? What about slums? India is famously known for the biggest slum in, I believe it's all of the world, in Mumbai, which is Dharavi. Why does no one just fix Dharavi? Why is it the way it is? And why has it been like this for so long? And if we want to develop Dharavi, what is the right way forward to sustainably do that? The book gives us a lot of talking points about Indian cities and how we can come to resolutions and government policies and public policies which positively impact Indian cities. How can we improve the public transportation, and how can we equitably manage land and distribute it, and try to minimize the fights that arise over land disputes, which are very common in India, especially if you go to tier 2 or tier 3 cities. So yeah, that's basically all about the book. It is a good read if you're interested in infrastructure development, how it happens, what are the causes, what are the implications, and how does a country get started on these infrastructure developments. It is of course, catered towards the Indian audience for us to understand how the Indian cities play such an enormous part in India's development, and how for such a long time the government and public policy has just sort of ignored the Indian cities. It has done some justice to it, but it is not to the fullest potential. So yeah, that's basically all that I have to say about this book. It is really, I don't want to use the word boring, but it is quite long. It is quite a tedious read, so it's not for the everyday reader. This is, if you really want to learn and study about cities and urban planning and development and infrastructure, then definitely go for this. Otherwise, you might not like it as much as someone else who's really interested in these things. So yeah, that's basically it for the book. I enjoyed reading it, but I am not really that invested in these kinds of topics, so a few parts for me were hard to grasp and fully understand. So that is why I'm giving out this disclaimer that if you are not fully aware of all the things and all the technical terms and all the things that go into making public policy and infrastructure planning, then you might not fully grasp this book. But nonetheless, if you are interested, you can give it a read to see how you like it. And as I said earlier, even though this is about governance and public policy, it does not criticize, or it does not heavily, idolize one government over the other. It's very objective. It looks at everything each government has done, what's the positive, what's the negative, very objective. That's an amazing thing which I always appreciate in books, which are about public policy and governance and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it for the review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new and haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel to keep receiving more videos like this one. I've been Abeer Rao, and thanks for watching.